It almost seems inevitable. We buy something or someone buys something from us, and then things start to change. Start to get frustrated, worried, uncertain. And before we know it, your commitment maybe starts to waver, whether you are the buyer or the seller. And you have to figure out what to do with that or how to deal with that. We're going to talk about all of that and more on episode 833 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom, good morning. From the messy penthouse today. No background. So you're seeing the office in its beauty. The whiteboard that's yet to be put up because I can't figure out where. The $10 file cabinet from Goodwill that I've yet to put stuff in. And a collection of guitars. I don't know if you can see them.
You can sort of see a couple.
Back there, yeah, there are 3-4 guitars. Which is a lot of guitars because, like watches and like pairs of shoes, you can only use one at a time usually.
Yes, unless you have somebody else with you who's going to play. So now you have the opportunity to have a duo or a trio.
That would be nice. Most of my friends don't play guitar. And most of my friends who have heard me play would say I don't play guitar either, actually.
Well, anyone can play it.
No, they can't. Trust me. I can disprove that for you in 30 seconds.
You mean you can't pick it up, hold it, strum it? You can't do that?
I can do that.
Isn't that playing it?
Yeah. Yes, I guess you're right. So how are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks.
All right. Your allergies bothering you, right?
They are a little bit.
Yeah, mine are cranking. Today's the first real day of allergies that it's bad.
Yeah, I've had it off and on a little bit, but last night, for whatever reason, it seemed to get started. So
stayed warmer.
That could be.
I think it's the tree pollen right now.
As opposed to.
Oh, there are like 6 pollens if you look at the Weather Channel. There's ragweed, there's grass, there's mold and spores. Yeah, I'm encyclopedic in my pollen knowledge.
Okay.
You might say I'm pollinating the world with my pollen knowledge.
You truly became committed to that, I guess.
So we should roll through this because I'm anxious to talk about this topic.
Okay. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast. Each week, we have a conversation around a topic. This week's topic is your commitment, and it follows in a long line of conversations we've had around your pathway. And most recently, we've been talking about people making decisions, dealing with what their decisions are, and then when you get a yes, now dealing with what is the commitment to that yes. So as we talk today about when it starts to waver, if you have any thoughts or ideas, please feel free to share them in the comments, because we know that add value to the show. And it might be what someone else is looking for. I hadn't really considered that perspective. So please feel free to share. And then at the end of that conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope will help you figure out how to take your next step when you might be frustrated, uncertain, overwhelmed, or maybe your commitment is starting to wonder and you're not sure what to do next. We hope that we will be able to provide that antidote. And of course, if you have a one thing that you'd like to share your antidote, please feel free to do so, because you may share it in a way that someone finally hears it, even though others have been saying it to them a long, long time. So we welcome your thoughts and your ideas. Before we get into that conversation, though, each Today, Bob and I share our celebrations. So, Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I'm celebrating that I joined a new networking group a couple months ago, and they had a mixer last night where they brought guests, and they also allowed people to bring their spouses or significant others. And I took my girlfriend, and they couldn't have been more nice to her. If it was like she was part of the family, it was really neat. She told a story about the fact that she got to hold a part of a 200-pound snake on Monday. She's a teacher, and they had an assembly with some reptile guy, and I actually have seen video of her holding a 200-pound, I think it's I want to say a Burmese python or something. I'm not a snake guy. And so she mentioned this story, and the big hit last night, the piece of knowledge that everyone was excited about was one of the guys there said to her, "What do they feed them? Do you know what they feed these 200-pound snakes, Tom?"
Guessing mice or like dead cows. I don't know.
Pigs. Yeah, they eat a pig or two apparently every 6 months.
Pig or two every 6 months. Huh.
Yeah. So think about it. I can't picture a snake eating a pig, but I can't picture a lot of things in the world. So that was one of the more exciting stories yesterday. And they did a bingo game, and she happened to be one of the only people there, if not the only person, who was an only child. So you got to sign the bingo card if you were the person. They went around, they asked everyone, are you this, are you this, are you this? So she was quite the hit because there were other people that couldn't say they were only children. So it was fun.
Sounds like it.
Met lots of people. Didn't talk business very much at all, which was really great. It was about getting to know people and just having a good time, as opposed to the, "Hi, I'm Bob, and this is what I do, and please take my card and call me in the morning." I did tell one person I'd be calling them in the morning, but we'd been missing each other for a little while. But I think I gave out 2 cards, and there were 60 people in the room.
Isn't that your standard?
Yes. But I'm sure there are people watching this and listening and going, "Wow, if there were 60 people in the room, why didn't you give out 60 cards?" If you want to know the answer to that, track me down. I'll explain it to you. How's that for a gift on a Thursday morning?
Is that truly a gift?
To explain it? Sure.
Well, you're not giving it freely. They have to reach out to you.
Okay. Do you want me to go door to door?
You could.
I could.
I don't know.
All right. How about you?
Your gift.
What do you celebrate today?
So I'm going to celebrate an interesting celebration that I thought I was going to be going to my parents' house, as I think I shared yesterday. And unfortunately, some things happened and it didn't work out. And in actuality, it worked out because I am going to head up there Sunday after my lacrosse game that I have to officiate and stay a little bit longer. So I'll be able to stay with them longer. So it will actually turn out to be a nice celebration to spend more time and not feel like I'm driving up and driving back in just about 36 hours.
Awesome.
Yes.
I know Mom and Dad would be happy to see you.
Yes, I hope so.
I think they will.
All right. So let's dive into this topic, your commitment and when it starts to waver. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. I'm going to talk about the seller part of this. Okay, so when we sell something to someone, whether it's a product or a service, we're all excited. Oh, I've got a new customer. They're going to do this. And I know there have been times when I sell something to someone, and after that, a day or two later, sometimes an hour later, I'm like, oh boy, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I've got a lot going on. I've taken this new person on. I don't understand exactly how I'm going to get there. And sometimes it's like, oh boy, what have I done? And that goes for, a couple hours, sometimes a day. And then I find that once I start, it all works itself out. The other situation as a seller, I think, is there are times when you work with someone and you get to a place where it's like, okay, this just isn't working the way I thought it would. In the case of the coaching that you and I do, I'm sure you've had this. There are times when people stop making appointments, where they schedule them and they don't show up a couple times in a row. It's like, okay, my commitment to you is starting to waver because you're starting to be less engaged and what's going on. I think the third area that this can happen as the seller is just when, there was a situation, I don't know, 8-9 years ago where I was looking at a full-time job and I was running my business and my commitment to finding new clients started to waver because I thought I might be taking a full-time job, and I in fact did for a while. So I think those are the three as the seller. How about as a buyer, Tom? You with us? You're turning fuzzy on me again.
I think I'm here.
Okay, all right. I can hear you. You are super fuzzy.
Okay. Well, I think there's a commonality between no matter where you are on the side of this, and that
meaning the buyer or the seller.
Correct.
Okay.
And that it becomes a judgment thing where you start to wonder and question what you've done and start to think about, well, was this really the best thing for me to do? Should I have spent money? Should I have taken on this new client? Why did I say yes to go help somebody move? Why did I say yes to go on this vacation? All those things are just decisions that we've made. And I think that for whatever reason, usually because something started triggering it, we did. And I think that
you're fading out, Tom, on us. It's hard to understand you.
Sorry. So I don't know if I should continue or not.
Yeah, go ahead. It's back.
So I think it's that piece of it is that at some point there's something goes off in our head where we start to either think about other things that we could have done during this time, other ways we could have spent our money or received money, and was that all worth it? And I think that it's just us really questioning kind of the decisions that we make, which seems to be a very common thing that happens, rather than just sort of saying, I made the decision. It was the decision that I could make in the moment, given all the information that I have. And sure, once decisions are made and time is provided, our thoughts about those decisions can change because now we have new knowledge, experience, and perspective. And I think so often that we allow those thoughts to creep into our head, that really then starts us questioning what we have done. And that's when our commitment to something starts to waver. Maybe you tried it out and it didn't work like you thought, like sort of like you said, is that whether you're the buyer or the seller. And that maybe you didn't read all the instructions. Maybe you didn't get all the information. Maybe you said, hey, I just need a little bit of help. I've got a few boxes I need to move. And a few boxes to you is 30 and a few boxes to me is like 4.
Right.
And then I get in there and, okay, so things are different than I thought. And so now I'm really starting to wonder why did I say yes to this?
Or circumstances change. You may have made a reservation for a restaurant last night, and because you didn't go up to New York, you're not using it because, we all have busy lives and things change. And I've certainly bought things with every intention of being able to use it fully, only to find out later that it's either not the right thing at that moment or something else took precedence over it. And that just sort of moves to the side. And over time, it moves to the side more and more. Like, I don't know, a whiteboard, for instance, that I use all the time, but I've yet to put it up on the wall, even though it's been 6 weeks.
And why is that, do you think?
Well, I'm not sure where to put it. And it's hard to do alone.
And isn't that a judgment, where to put it?
Yeah.
Does it really matter?
It does, because I need to think about this room, and it's, I'm not going to explain this. It's and it is a judgment. And if I do it a certain way, I'm worried that I'll do it the wrong way, or it'll not be as effective as if I do it another way. And I just it's paralyzed me. I mean, it's a microcosm of what I think we go through in business or as a leader, that there's this little decision. I mean, the whiteboard, for God's sake, we're not talking a huge thing here. In the scheme of things, the whiteboard might be the single least important thing in this whole place. But it's taken on a really big issue for me because you can see that wall back there. That's really the only wall it can go on the way I have this set up. But I may put a bed back there. So the whiteboard will be behind the bed. So I've got to think through that. So rather than make a decision, just say, no, I'm not going to put a bed there. I'm going to do a different kind of something, or I'm not going to have that many guests that sleep in a bed. So why do I need to worry about it? This is an office. I've just been debating it in my head a lot. And I think I do that in business at times. I think many of us do. And I think it's funny because there's someone going, it's a whiteboard. You can move it. And I think you could say that about just about any decision we make in a business. You know,
Absolutely.
I bought a car for my company. That was really a bad decision because it's expensive. I can't make the payments. All right, so you sell it back.
So Michael has a comment.
I can't see comments today. I believe what you're calling is buyer's remorse or seller's remorse. It's crucial to maintain honesty, transparency, and fairness to support the decision by both parties. Oh, I like that.
I do too. And I think it's a little more than just remorse. I think it is us feeling like everything has to be perfect. Like you said.
You mean like my whiteboard?
Like your whiteboard. It has to be in the perfect spot. Okay, well, maybe
it's got to be perfectly level.
Correct. And maybe it just has to be in a spot for now so that you can use it, not that it's just leaning against your wall. Right. And I think that we feel like we can't make those decisions. Either we can't make them, and so we're not committed to them, or we make them and we now are just all worried about all the other things that might come around. Okay, so you put it up someplace where in the moment you believe this is where it should go. And then things will change, which they always will and always do, because whenever you have time, we're going to have change. And so then you can just move it again or not worry about it and say, you know what, I'm okay with it leaning against the wall at the moment. Like that's my decision for now. And, you know, some would say that's not a decision, that's indecision. And I would also offer that that's a choice. You have a choice to leave it where it is or hang it, throw it out. And any of those are actually a decision. And I think so often we just get so challenged by the decisions that we make, mostly because we're judging it and trying to decide if that was the perfect, quote unquote, decision to make.
I think there's something else though, Tom, and you brought up, you said two words, for now. So many of these decisions, you know, I just bought this condo. I'm going to hopefully live here 20, 25, 30 years. I think there's a reasonable expectation. At some point, I'm probably going to move that whiteboard. But I don't think about it that way. I think of it as I'm going to make this decision that's permanent, can never change it. And I think so often when I talk to people, when I'm coaching them, that whole idea of, well, I'm making a decision. You know, you're hiring this person. They're going to be here 30 years. Well, if it doesn't work out, it usually fixes itself over time. And if you go with the wrong vendor, it usually fixes itself. And if you buy the wrong product, you usually realize what you could have done differently and you do it differently. And so I think so often we think of permanence. And I saw it when I was teaching college and my students took their first job and they're like, I don't know if I can work here for 30 years. I'm like, odds are really high you're not. And they're like, no, this is, I feel like that. No, it just doesn't work that way. And I think we trick ourselves into believing everything's final when in fact everything is temporary. And it's only as final as we allow it to be. But I think I make a lot of decisions thinking this is the rest of my life. I've made this decision. I have to live with it. And yes, there are decisions that it's hard to change quickly. I mean, you know, but even if you moved from the East Coast to the West Coast and you're on the West Coast for 3 months, go, I hate San Diego. I hate 72 and sunny every day. Okay, fine. You leave your job, you go back to the East Coast, you'll figure it out. And I have to constantly remind myself of the impermanence of decisions.
So is that your one thing?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, that decisions are not final, even though they're final in the moment, but not final in forever. Uh-oh, I lost you again.
Yeah.
You're back. Okay, what do you got? We're not hearing you again, Tom. So I'm going to wrap the show up. All right. So this has been today's antidote. We didn't get Tom's antidote. I'll see if I can get him to put it in the comments. But we've been talking about your commitment and when it starts to waver. You heard my one thing. If you have a one thing, we'd love to see it in the comments. Feel free to put it there. If you are looking at our or listening to our podcast, hey, bad news. I know I'm working on it, but you can't put comments in there. But you can go to our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where we're talking about a variety of things, including this whole topic. So go in there and you can put your comments in there, and other people will comment and see your comment, and it can make someone's day in terms of helping them see things in a new way. Your words could be so powerful to them and how they move forward. So with that, want to say to you, we'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.-ish. I know it's another topic around your commitment. I can't remember what, but we'll be talking about your commitment as the buyer and the seller. So don't miss that. And again, that Ring of Renegades Facebook group is there for you. And if you're struggling with anything like this about your commitment or when it wavers or something else related to your business or leadership, Tom or I would love to talk to you about it. Really eager to talk to people just to see what's going on. You'd be surprised what you might find out. It might be a resource you need, and one of us can help you access it, or we might have a suggestion for you. So you can track us down, direct message, text us if you figure out our phone number. Hey, you're smart. You'll figure out a way to track us down. Okay? And with that, hey, Tom would say, enjoy your day. And I would say, embrace the renegade in you. And then Tom would say, we'll see you soon. Thank you.